I know you've taken people on these retreats, and you mentioned the naked fellow running around wanting to accost people.
Oh.
Are there any other really good freak out stories from people you've been around who maybe overindulged a bit, lost their mind temporarily?
Well, I'll tell you, the first retreat we did, there was a guy who went on it who was an entrepreneur and very successful, had $1 million business, and unfortunately, him and his wife were having some real challenges. So much so that she said that she had hidden a gun in their house and that she was going to kill him and the kids. She had really kind of lost it.
Yeah.
Well, he came down for this retreat because he was like, dude, I need something to sort this out. And the night before we did the hero's journey, he was like, yo, man, I don't think I'm going to do this. This kind of freaks me out. I think I'm going to pass. So I said, all right, man, no problem. We go, we talk about it, and finally decides he's going to do it. Well, so the next day I give him 7 grams of mushrooms, and dude, the next 6 hours were completely life-changing for him. There were times when he was just like looking around like he was just delighted. And then there were moments where he's like putting his head down here and looking up and looking at me very suspiciously. Well, the sun starts to set. We're in the jungle and it's time to go. And I was like, hey man, we got to go. And he's laying on the ground, won't leave. Finally, we get him up, walking through the jungle, through the river. He needs to get on the back of his motorcycle because that's how we got there. So he needs to ride the back of his motorcycle to go back to the house. And he looks at me, he's like, hey man, I'm scared. I was like, hey dude, don't worry. I got you. Well, the next day, of course we make it home. Okay. Mm-hmm. The next day he's like, dude, when you told me to get on the bike, it looked like you were God and God was telling me that everything was okay. Now, dude, look, don't get the wrong idea. What happened here is in his consciousness, something about he learned something about the way this world works, something that all the mystics have tried to tell us for all the time, which is everything's okay. Trust. Now, it made it seem like I'm God in that. That was just like an anthropomorphism. It was just like me playing that role. But
sure.
the thing that happened, the experience, okay, the experience, not something that somebody told him, okay, but he was really there. And really, do you know how much courage it takes for one grown man to tell another grown man, I'm scared? This grown man whose wife has a gun at his house and has never told me I'm scared.
I can't get over that. That's where I've been stuck this whole time.
This man is a scared expert. He knows scared like
nothing about
back of his hand.
Now he's saying, I'm scared. Look, that's a huge experience of, whoa, everything.
He didn't leave his kids at home, did he?
Yes, he
ship them to.
My question is this, Michael: how does going and having any sort of treatment going to help that you've got a murderous, crazy lady at home with your children? Like that? Well, did he send her? Did she also get doped up somewhere?
She realized she was right.
Right? But what did he's like, you know what? I realized she's right.
Right. Those kids.
Like, what happened? What was the resolution to that? Because the real problem is his wife is crazy. She has like postpartum depression or something.
Postpartum.
Post. Squared. Cubed.
In a relationship, the real issue is when people, no matter what the issue is, there's two people that can't communicate. And so in this situation, the issue was that there was some question about some infidelity. She wasn't able to get over it. He wasn't able to talk to her in a way that helped her get over it. It was a fucking mess.
Shit. But you're gonna kill them. That's a whole other thing. That's scary.
That is so scary.
Well, I mean,
I can tell you, I would not be going to Costa Rica for drugs.
No,
if that happened to me. No. I would be, kids, get in the car. We're leaving now. We'd be searing across the state. There'd be a fucking Amber Alert for my car. I'd be getting out of my car, beating the shit out of someone in another car, taking their car, getting my kids in there, going, your mother's a crazy bitch. She told me she's gonna kill you. And they go,
she showed me the gun.
Yeah, she showed me the gun. She had bullets with their names on them.
Taylor, do you have any kids?
No.
So you don't know what you're talking about. Kyle, do you have any kids?
I have 4. I would take them and I'd get away with them. You know, like, look, if my wife told me that she was thinking about killing me and our 4 children, I might kill her. Honestly, if she said that, but I would definitely go to the authorities and put a stop to it however I could, because I can't let the kids die. I care about them too much.
I think we're getting off the point.
3 of them.
The point is everybody's got different ways of dealing with things, and
did the LSD fix it? Did the mushrooms fix it?
In this guy's case, it was a delicate situation, man. Like,
did it get
mushrooms fix it?
Like, did they get it broken off and everything with no violence, no?
Dude, you guys are kind of making fun, but like,
I want to know what happened. You told me the guy's wife is going to kill him and his kids, and he came to you to do mushrooms in another country, and you're telling me that's the right thing, and I'm saying, okay, so how did it end up? And I'm wondering if there's dead kids in the end of the story.
You probably wouldn't have told the story if that part happened.
I just don't get the feeling that you guys are taking or like believing the story or something. It sounds like you're making fun of me, but
no,
I believe the story.
It's ridiculous though.
Okay, well, anyway, now they're together, and it sounds anticlimactic because of all the ridicule. But this is real life, man. There are real people who do things that, as you sit there in your chair smugly fucking judging them, they're real people who don't know what to do about situations.
Well, this woman, idiot, man. You described craziness.
This woman who was
married to him, was going to agree with
Asian woman.
Is that what the police?
This way of seeing the world that is very humiliating to her if she's cheated on. Then she threatens the thing that she can only do to get his attention. And for you to be so smug and to laugh it off, these are real.
I'd rather be smug than a mother who threatens the lives of her children. Well, I think one's better than the other. You don't have to be one or the other. You're defending the child killer.
I'm not defending anyone. I'm telling you this is the way people are. I'm not suggesting that anyone's right. I'm suggesting that you let people be who they are and recognize that this is the way
if who someone is threatening to kill their children, you can't let that someone be. That husband didn't let it be. He took the task to go and try and remap his thinking to try and handle it, right?
I think you guys are missing the point. I'm sorry, maybe I'm just telling the story wrong. What I'm trying to tell you is that these are emotional things that people say.
Sure.
Am I trying to say that the children's lives are in danger? I have no idea. I'm just telling you that this is what the situation was. And if you get fixated on this one bit where
it's a big bit.
Might have been something that she said in fucking anger. I'm just telling you that that's the way.
Saying that I hate you in anger is so much different than saying you're going to kill your children in anger.
Let me run this. Let me catch you up real quick.
Roger that.
One of Michael's patients came to him because his wife told him, I have a gun hidden in the house. I plan to kill you and all 3 children. So he hooked up with Michael and they went to Costa Rica and left the kids with her. And it all worked out. And Michael says that I'm sitting here smugly judging her. Shut up, Michael. Michael, won't you? You're being a little smug there for someone who's on the side of a house somewhere with birds calling and dogs barking. I heard a stranger walk by a minute ago. Don't be rude to me and cut me off. I let you trail on for 3 fucking, I don't know how many stories of nonsense. All I said was, this sounds like a terrible human being. And if my wife threatened my children, she wouldn't be my wife anymore. And that's not a crazy thing or coming from a smug place. That's a normal thing coming from a sane place.
It does sound like she needed some help to reset, right? Like,
no, she didn't do the drugs. He left her with the kids and he did drugs.
I did follow what I was saying, but she was the one who was off her rocker. It sounds like she needed to be committed before she made a terrible decision. You think?
I do.
Yeah, I think so. Like if someone's threatening that to their children,
but I don't
think you can. Yeah.
And she got over it. Like, why did that work?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, was he making her crazy? Did him leaving make her rethink where she was.
I think he had cheated on her, and she was Asian, so that was extra bad.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that. Huh. And did they live happily ever after? Did they put it back together, or did they get a divorce and get that right? Michael?
Actually, they're still married.
They're still married.
They have, for everything you can tell, a much better relationship, and they seem to be doing great.
Huh. I think there's a little luck involved on this, right?
Yeah.
If she was losing her mind.
Like it's just, there was something going on with her, obviously. Like I would think that was the principal problem here. It's just, the whole situation is so bizarre to me. Like, because I'm just putting myself in that space of hearing someone I'm married to threatening my children and then going on a trip. Like, that's insane. Like you see that, right, Michael?
Guys, we're in a place where like we're just not talking about the same thing anymore.
Oh, maybe you can help me catch up. Like,
I don't really know what we're trying to do right now.
Have a normal human being conversation.
I think
amongst four non-brain-addled individuals.
I think what Kyle was saying initially was that the whole like LSD thing can be good, but you caught us off guard with this story because it's so far beyond what you should be seeking psychedelics for. If your spouse is threatening the lives of your children, to go on a trip and do LSD is madness, instead of taking action and being like, we got to protect our kids. I think if it's as serious as you laid out initially of her saying, I hit a gun and I'm going to kill you and the children, you got to take that more seriously. That's not a I need to be enlightened situation. That's a there is a life and death situation potentially, and this must be rectified.
Well, dude, all you guys are saying is that you don't believe this story because
no one has said that once.
No.
Not once.
You clearly
said
are.
that 3 times though.
You clearly are.
I don't believe the story now because you're so defensive about it.
You keep suggesting
did I ask that in a confusing way?
Should have happened, although actually what happened was the best possible outcome. So you're telling me that it should have gone another way when what I'm telling you is it went great. So
you're telling me you walked into the street blindfolded, found $100, and so that's must work. That's the way to walk across the street.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. Like I have I've been on a hockey team and they say, Woody, play your position. And then I don't play my position and I score. And they're like, I hate it when bad ideas work out. Right? It's still a good idea to play your position, even though this one time it worked for you. Mm-hmm. So if your wife is threatening your kids, to leave her alone with the kids, like even though it worked out, he needed to play his position. No, you don't see it like that?
He's culpable. If she killed him, I feel like he's almost as guilty as her.
I feel like you guys are fixating on one part of the story. That's
the interesting part.
I might not have the whole story.
No, Kyle laid it out. Yeah.
Oh, you think I do? Okay.
The interesting part is not what might sound most sensational, but the interesting part is actually what happened. And
the sensational part happened too. It's 2 for 2. It's that beats the other part because the other part just happened and it's not sensational. You've got sensational reality. I never said the story didn't happen. What I'm saying is the story is so ridiculous that it's fascinating.
Yeah.
That I want to do a case study on it. That I want to. If I knew that guy's address, I'd call the police in his area and tell him, hey, there's a crazy lady over there who's threatening her children. The cops should know. The cops should know.
They should.
Everyone who knows who isn't telling is culpable in some manner.
I feel like if I bring up America, I can't tell you guys. I can't speak about America without telling you guys like how I actually ended up in America. Because bearing in mind, I was living in a YMCA. I'm 17 at the time. I had no money, and then I ended up in America. And I was coming back on my visa. I probably spent like 9 months out there in total during that time. And yeah, it was so. Picture this, right? I've just got my first like biggest payment in ever. It was for like £600, and I'm like, I think I'm like 17 at this point. I've had like nothing my whole life.
Real money.
Really. I've never had like a good job that paid me any good, and I was like, sweet, 600 quid. I'm on it.
Yeah.
what should I do? Should I buy a computer and work on YouTube videos and try and grind, or
should I live indoors for 10 days?
Sorry?
Should I live indoors for 10 days?
Yes.
I mean, you're rolling in that kind of cash.
Well, at the time I was speaking with some chick on Skype, right, from America, and flights were only like £350. So, like, what would you do in that situation? What are you buying a computer, or are you flying to America?
You're moving to America.
So you get the impression there's a sure thing in America.
Well, I've been speaking to them for like 2 weeks on video call, like, I was like, yeah. So I call them. I'm like, sweet, let's hook up. Let's do it. She's like, yeah, I can meet you. I'm like, fuck it. When should I come? She's like, yeah, come tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'll book a flight right now. Come tomorrow.
That's how it happened,
bro. I get to New York, and I'm at the airport, and I'm waiting for this chick.
Oh,
and that's it, bro.
She never showed up.
I'm waiting for this chick.
Oh no!
And there's no chick there. And then I suddenly realized I'm a 17-year-old with 200 quid in my bank account, no flight home for 3 weeks. I don't know anyone.
In a new country, at least you speak the language.
You have fucked up. Yeah, at least you didn't like fly to South America.
How long into waiting were you like, oh no, like I don't have anywhere to live?
The oh no moment came about 2-3 hours in.
Oh,
and then they're like, oh shit, this isn't happening. Was like 7-8 hours of being at the airport, being like, no messages are delivering.
Hope she's not dead.
Did she just ghost you? That's the end of everything. You never caught up with her.
I'll come to that. So basically, at this point, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Right? Like, luckily, one of my homies had a manager who lived in New York. And I was like, bruv, please, can you hook me up with him? Can I just stay at his house or something? Like please. Guy's a legend. He lets me stay at his house for a couple of days. And obviously, after a couple of days of me just mooching about, smoking weed and that, he's like, bruv, like, you can't really stay in my house. Can you go somewhere else?
We're not friends.
I'm like, bro, I got no money. I'm like showing him my bank account. I'm like, bro, I got 200 fucking bucks. Like, what do I do? I already spent $50 on weed. I'm gonna.
You already bought weed.
So the guy says, look, if I book you a flight somewhere else, can you like support yourself while you're there? And I'm like, yes, I can. So I used to do like parkour and shit. So I had like a parkour friend in Boston.
A lot of money in that.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. But I had a parkour friend in Boston, gone to him. We've chilled together. We flew California, and I had a homie in California who I could cash in a favor from. But that's 2 flights I made this guy buy as well, and I'm very grateful. I've not even spoken to him since, so big love to that guy all them years ago. But yeah, I've landed in California, just chilled for a bit, cashed in a favor from a homie, was about to fly home. Somebody's tweeted me, and they've said that there's a 420 party happening at their house for 420. I'm not sick. I'm down for that. Sweet. I go to the house. Turns out in America, bruv, like, what are you guys doing? You call up an actual party a rager. And what we call a party, I mean, what you guys are calling a party, we call a social gathering, where it's just like 10, 15 people all chilling, smoking weed, right?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to some like big fucking party, and it was just like, yeah, it was cool anyways. I'm chilling. I wake up in the morning, and the guy's like, yeah, do you ever want to like move to California? Like, do you want to chill here? Like, I'm like, bro, like, yeah, of course, at some point. And he's like, yeah, well, bro, like, you can stay here for free anytime. I own this place. And he takes me to the balcony. He's like, yeah, I own this place, and I own this place. Yeah, stay here anytime. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Of course. Bro, I flew home the next day, fucking sold all my shit.
So many bad decisions.
These are great decisions. You're totally wrong, Taylor. This guy's
And then the chick actually did end up texting me, right? The chick was from New Jersey. She was from New York, sorry. She's driven into New Jersey because I was at Newark. And when she's gone across the border, there was like a police check. They found loads of weed on her, and she got arrested, and she didn't get bailed out for like 2 days. And then she did eventually text me, but by that point I think she didn't text me for like 6 days or something, and by that point I was already in Boston. Yeah.
So you sold all your shit and then went and lived with this very generous gentleman who just
he just free place to live in exchange for blowjobs.
Yeah, just a rich Californian fella who wanted a young little British man to live in one of his many states.
The guy was only like 21.
Damn, that's a lot of properties at 20. So what? How
sure
long
he worked hard for
did
them.
he let you stay there before he started asking you to leave?
No, he actually never asked me to leave. Yeah, what happened was after 3 months, I ended up going on Warped Tour. One of my homies was just like, "Yo, come on this fucking thing for the whole tour." I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I came on the thing. I flew back to England afterwards because of my birthday, and while I flew back to England, my YouTube channel got deleted, and I only had like 30,000 subscribers at the time or something. But yeah, my channel got deleted, and I was like, "What? This doesn't make any sense." I'm like freaking out, getting off the plane. What the fuck? Turns out another guy had moved into the apartment. So there was like, me, the other guy, and this other guy, and the other guy was paying rent and I wasn't. And while I've gone away, he's figured out that I wasn't paying rent. He's thinking that he's paying for my rent as well, even though he was only paying half and the other guy's just taking the L on it. And yeah, he's gone on my computer at the house and fucking deleted my YouTube channel.
Oh no.
Yeah, because obviously the password is like stored in Google Chrome when you go into like settings and you just type in thing and you just
and your computer wasn't locked.
So I had to speak to YouTube and get the channel back and shit, and it was long. So when I came back to Cali, I literally never went back there. I just left all my stuff there and was like, fuck that.
Damn. This is an exciting life. Like that's a lot.
It's cool, right?
Like
it's different, I guess. I mean, this is me when I was like young as well. I still kind of do all this shit.
Right, as opposed to now when you're quite old.
What were the times though that because I'm sure it was exciting and fun. What were the moments that kind of, if any, made you think like, how long can I keep doing this? Like, where am I heading with this? Like,
with the only time I ever think that is when people, when I ask people like, oh, how old do you think I am? And they say somewhere like 30 or like 35 or something, even though I'm only 25. And I go, sweet, I can still have green hair until I'm like 30, 35.
that's
when I reckon that's when everything kind of stops.
I wanted to bounce back to something with Josh. So like the hallucinations with alcohol, that's not something you hear about a lot. Like that's only when you were getting off of it in rehab. That wouldn't happen when you were actively drinking, right? Or would it? Like, would you wake up at 3 a.m, like before you took your shots, and you would be hallucinating?
Yeah. So like that's a part of withdrawals. It was nowhere near like, it was like shadow people. Like I'd see like a shadow that wouldn't be there. Whereas like
nightmarish.
Yeah, in the hospital, it was like hallucinogenics, but like the worst trip possible.
It's just no fun.
Yeah.
What were some of the scariest things you've seen, whether either at the hospital or at home?
I mean, one of the ones that I always go back to, it was not even scary. It was just weird. Like the one you said, the hanging dude in the corner, that was pretty scary. I saw a girl running from her boyfriend who was like trying to fucking like hold her back, and she jumped through a panel in the ceiling and like crawled in, because it was like a paneled like stucco ceiling. Mm-hmm. So like she crawled through, and then I was like screaming at nurses, and nurses come running in. They're like, nothing's happening. Probably gave me some more fucking benzos. Mm-hmm. But there was this pillow. So they have anti-seizure pillow like things that line the entire side of your hospital bed. And I was laying there looking at the pillow, and every time I would blink, something else would be in the pillow. So like I'd blink and it would be like an aquarium, and then I'd blink and it'd be like snakes. I'd blink, it'd be a dead body. I'd blink, it'd be butterflies. So like it'd literally go from like great to awful. Yeah, 100%.
I'm staying on butterflies.
I get to a point I was like aquarium, stop. But then I blink and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, now I'm onto the worst thing. So like it was just my mind playing crazy tricks. And
it's
like
an anti-seizure pillow. Like I'm picturing like I don't know, like you're in a tub almost of pillow. That's not it.
No, so think of like a body pillow, but made of like plastic that people could probably vomit on and you could easily clean. So like
how
medical
does it help
plastic
you with a seizure.
Keep
like,
rolling out of bed, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I was having a seizure and thrashing, I wouldn't be hitting my head or my arms or anything on the bars or rolling out of bed.
So it
keeps you in the bed. You're in like a cradle almost.
Yeah. Do you know what a baby changing table is like? It's kind of a little U-shaped thing.
Very similar.
When you're seizing, are you fully aware of what's going on and conscious?
No. So, well, minor seizures, yes. So the ones I had in rehab, 100%. Like the last couple, I was like very aware, but grand malls, entire blackout.
You went to jail with Sam Pepper?
Yeah.
How long were you in jail, and what did you do to get there?
He is an IRL streamer who used to be with like a friend of Ice Poseidon's, right?
Sam Pepper?
Yeah.
So Sam Pepper became famous before Ice Poseidon, and what he did is he made these videos
way before then,
where he would like prank people, or in particular, he got a lot of notoriety for kissing girls that didn't want to be kissed. And then he would claim it was a social experiment.
Like fake hand touching prank that got him in all the trouble, wasn't it?
Maybe I don't know this one, but it was like a pattern.
Like a prank where he walked around with a fake hand, and he actually I can't remember what he did. I don't know if he actually squeezed chicks' bums or if he did it with the fake hand and then tried to show it was a fake hand afterwards or something like that. It was very strange, and he's done like 6 things that have got him cancelled. So like,
yeah. So, but anyway, he would do socially inappropriate stuff, usually having to do with like making advances on girls that were a little too fast, a little too much. And that's how he became known. Then he was on Ice Poseidon's thing, and I think he eventually did some crypto scam that made him a lot of money, and he just ducked out.
Yeah, that was the fake hand prank. I mean, it was all fake, so like it didn't really matter that he was doing.
But the women weren't actresses.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
They were all actresses.
Yeah. Everything.
So they were in on it. The whole thing was fake.
Yeah, everything was fake. Yeah. Because back in these days, this is like just before this prank came out was when I was hanging out with him.
Okay. So why were you guys in jail?
So at the time, Sam was like, even though he had like 2 million subscribers, it was like a dead channel, couldn't get any views. And like I said, this was like the beginning of van life. So me and my mate were talking together. We were like, hey, we should get a van. And at the time we were staying with Sam Pepper because obviously, like I said, the guy deleted my YouTube channel. I've flown back to LA. I didn't have a place to stay. So my mate was staying at Sam's, and I was like, can I stay at Sam's too? He was like, yeah, sure. He's kind of overheard that me and my mate are saying like, yeah, we want to get like a van for like $1,000 and all this. And yeah, one day he's just woken up and he's bought an airport shuttle bus for $4,000. And he's like, yeah, you guys each owe me $1,000 now. You said you wanted to buy a van, right? And we were like, bro, we didn't tell you we wanted to buy a van. And like, we wanted to go 1,000 all in, not 1,000 each. And like, but he was like, oh, look, it doesn't matter. Just live stream. And like, you know, when you live stream, you can just give me the money. And I'm kind of like, well, I don't really have any money. So like, I guess I'm going to have to fucking do that. Like I don't really have a place to live.
Damn.
So
he Andrew Tated you.
Yeah.
You got trafficked.
Right.
Did you live stream on OnlyFans?
But either way, like at this point, he starts. Originally, we're kind of like, all right, sick. This airport shuttle bus is sick as fuck. Wait. If I have to go down to my Instagram, but let me find this airport shuttle bus because craziest thing you've ever seen. It started off really good. We've gone like Oregon and stuff like that, and then Sam starts being weird. Starts being like, yeah, you guys have to have knives on you all the time.
What?
I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, here's a knife. What the fuck? Like, makes us.
We're in America, dumbass.
All right, so when he hands you, why do you need the knife? Because I'm sure you asked.
Like, he's saying, oh yeah, we might need it for like, you know, when we're out and about, like you know, scavenging and like, you know, when we're doing our hikes and shit. And I'm like, but like, surely one person needs a knife. And he's like, no, keep it on your waistband at all times.
What?
But because he starts getting really controlling. Like he starts telling us like the times we need to wake up in the morning. Says if we don't wake up by 7:30, then he's going to start driving, and we're not going to be able to get food. And the whole point of this road trip, by the way, is that we're just supposed to be going into like abandoned places and getting photos for Instagram, like kind of just shallow shit. I mean, bro, I was a kid at the time, but I'm looking back, like Sam was like my age now, and it's very strange. But like, I mean, I had just turned 18, so
he had a little cult.
It was weird. Look, here's the.
Did you dutifully carry your blade?
Dude, he literally had a cult. He made them all wear those knives like some sort of symbol or marker or something.
Look at this one. So this is the.
They all had to have green hair,
right? And it was just So either way, like I said, we're going into abandoned places. Starts getting really weird. Fuck, I haven't told the story in so long, but Sam, one day we wake up. He's already driven through like one whole state. And we're thinking, what have you been doing? You've been driving all through the night. You've driven through like a whole state. We've missed out on all this shit. He's like, no, I've got a really good place for us to go in Pennsylvania. Really, really good place for us to go in Pennsylvania. So, all right, fuck it. Like, look, just listen to Sam. He started getting really weird with us, starts yelling at us and all this shit. Fuck it, we go with him. Turns out his girlfriend had gone to Pennsylvania to go to her family to get away from him because he'd been so weird. And he's driven us to his girlfriend.
No.
Specifically tried to get away from him while we're on this trip, right?
Oh, no.
Like,
wait, this is what the knives are for.
Right.
This is what the knives are for.
Now we know.
It just starts getting weirder and weirder to the point where, like, it was just nothing really too bad was going on, but we were a bit obviously like, this guy is fucking nuts. Let's just finish this road trip and fucking get away from this guy. And turns out he hadn't looked up the trespassing law in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is like the worst state in like all of the US for trespassing laws.
Okay.
It's really bad. And we went into like some abandoned school just to take photos. I didn't even go in because this is going to sound so stupid as well. Yeah. I haven't even gone in, right?
Imagine.
But everyone has dyed their hair green.
I was right.
Oh my God. Whose idea?
Sam.
Whose idea was it?
It was Sam's idea.
So there you are. There you all are. With your hair colored. With your hair colored how Daddy wants, and you're all wearing Daddy's knives, and you've broken into a school at night, I'm sure.
No, during the day.
Oh, okay, good.
3 of them are inside the school, and one of them, basically the police get called, 2 of them get caught, and one of them runs away, right? So the police have now been told, there's a guy with green hair who has run away from the police. I am a man with green hair, and there aren't many of them, so they've seen me and gone, get the fuck out the bus! Get the fuck out the bus! And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, put me on the ground and shit. Like, fucking, bro, we're in the holding cells. We're like with all these guys who are on heroin and shit, and like, everyone's like, trying, some like gangster guys who are in there to sell the heroin and get the heroin in, and some guys who are there just on heroin and shit, like. Fucked up holding cell. If anyone knows Allegheny County Jail watching this, I feel very sorry for you. That is a fucked up place. And bro, even all these big guys are like, don't worry, you're gonna get out, like you're gonna get SO'd, like whatever the fuck that means in America. We don't call that here. Yeah, but like, you're gonna get SO'd, it's gonna be nothing, bro. I walk into my like video judge thing, and the guy's like, 2 felonies, criminal trespass and conspiracy. Which were both 5 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they're like, we're making an example out of you. We want to stop people going in the school.
Jesus
like,
Christ.
so all of us have these charges. We managed to get bailed out for like $5,000 each from Sam's girlfriend's scary dad. Wow. It's a story for a different time, but
why the fuck would he bail y'all out?
I don't know. He had a safe with like $250,000 in it, and nobody knew how he got it. So
damn.
Yeah, but why? But it seems like you would be the last people he'd want to bail out. The people who traveled, the gang who traveled across the country to track his daughter down.
He hated us while we were at we stayed at his house while we were there. Like he started doing chores after we got arrested when he bailed us out. And dude's like, bro, I didn't ask you to do chores. You're like, you're raking the leaves, and more leaves are gonna come down. And Sam's just like forcing us to do all this shit.
Can you refer to him as daddy for the rest of
the thing? So one day, me and my mate are like, bro, we need to leave. Like,
Father Samuel.
Bro, we're telling Sam, like, bro, like, we should go. We should keep going on the trip. Just come back for the court date. It's all good. Like, I'm sure we can find a good lawyer. We'll be fine. It's okay. And he's like, bruv, like what? Well, at first he was kind of like, no, don't worry. Like, it's all good. Gets later on in the day, and he starts fucking putting his hand on his knife, and he's like, you guys don't want to leave, do you? You guys don't want to leave, right? And we're like,
oh my God,
bro, like, no, we don't want to leave. Like, we're good. We told you earlier, like, we're good. And he's like, yeah, okay, good, like, good. So like, right, like 3 a.m, me and my mate just fucking pack up our shit and leave. Oh, bro. Oh shit, this story gets fucked up. Okay. Oh my God,
it's already fucked up. You've already been to jail and you're being held hostage. But carry on. Tell me where it gets bad.
Bro, I've got to the taxi rank, right? So these taxi people. Oh no, I haven't even explained, bro. I've called a taxi rank and I've told them this whole situation. And at the time, Sam had just had like some crazy controversy come up. So the chick on the phone has just been like, "Oh, that Sam Pepper guy. Yeah, no worries. We'll send someone to pick you up. We want you to get away from him." We get there. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on bail. I need to smoke my weed quick." And they're like, "Oh, don't worry. We've got weed. You can smoke our weed." So I'm like chilling with these taxi people, working out where I'm going to go, smoking weed with them somehow.
Nice.
Well, I'm looking through my contacts. I'm like, who the fuck is near Pennsylvania? Anyone. The only person who I knew, I knew them from way back on an old live streaming website, used to chat back in the day, is Eugenia Cooney.
The anorexic chick?
The anorexic chick.
Wait, what?
Eugenia Cooney.
So I hit
up a picture of Eugenia Cooney.
Fucking smoking.
Yeah. You got, bro, like.
Hey Taylor, you asked me earlier where you might get some human bones.
Before you guys see her, this is a chick who really understands calories in, calories out.
Goddamn right she does.
Oh yeah, but bro, I pick her up and she's like explained all the shit to her mum, and she's been like, "Yeah, come over." And like, bro, I got like a 16-hour coach from Pennsylvania to like fucking Connecticut, and and stayed with Eugenia Cooney for like a week.
She looks happy.
You know what? Being around
those boobs,
in person, she is actually a happy person in that sense. And like, bruh,
she looks like she'd be adept at capturing flies.
I feel like she could escape from jail. Like, tell me if she could slip between the bars.
Yeah,
from jail.
It's just a weird.
She's like a mouse. She'll
world,
just
just happened to hit up Eugenia Cooney and stay at her house for like a week.
So you just reached out to her. She was the only person you knew, and she just totally was like, "Yeah, come stay here."
Yeah, I mean, if you ever see a video,
she's pretty cool.
Cooney, you'll know she's just one of them people who's like, "Yeah, of course, yeah."
She's a poor decision maker. That's what he means.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can tell. You can definitely tell that.
Letting this animal into her house.
It's subtle, but I caught on that.
Don't the rest of the green-haired knife boys want to come with you?
Dude, I want to know did the knives match?
So they actually did match in the sense of, like, they were all the same type of knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he try and teach you anything about knives, like defensively or attacking? Or he just insisted you be strapped up?
No.
Okay. So did he ever brandish the knife?
You have a knife for them times we need it on them hikes, you know?
Did he often have the knife out, like doing like stuff with it, playing with it, maybe while he talked to you?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of implied threat there, right? You know, the sort of thing where we're having a conversation with someone and one of you has a weapon out. Like
the thing is, even in thinking about this, I can't forget the good times, which were like us driving the big van.
He wouldn't let you.
Then, like I remember like
love to see the montage.
We put it on like cruise control, and we have like somebody swap the
You're
drivers.
the best of friends.
So you'd put it on cruise control, and then no one would be driving.
No, we swapped the drivers like while it's driving and shit, like with cruise control, because the way the seat was set up, you could literally just like have somebody just swap over from either side.
I've done that before. Yeah.
Like, you know, that was kind of fun. That was about it. That was
They were the good times. Yeah.
Man, Sam, this is, I don't know who that guy, is it Sam Pepper? Is that his name?
Yeah. You don't know Sam Pepper at all?
So I know his name. If you described him, I would know him, but you know what I mean? He's one of those people. But wow, that sounds awful scary. It sounds like he had a borderline Manson-esque cult type thing going on. To me, it's weird when you want people to dress like you and look like you and like.
I was the one who had green hair originally, and it was more like he was trying to change me the whole time, and then also trying to be like me. It was really weird. It was almost like he was trying to like take the good qualities from me and add them to himself, and then take away.
He wanted to get inside you,
and then make us the same. It was very strange.
Walk around in there.
Was there?
But like that's the thing with Sam. I've always said to people, I've been like, bro, like this guy will just fuck you over for money. Like that's the main thing he'll do. He'll try and like wrap you into something, and then just like be like, yeah, you owe me money now. And it's happened with like all of his relationships with people with
we talked about
when I first moved after college, I got my first job. I found out that they were losing their house in the form of I got an email that said my credit card was maxed out.
Oh no.
And
that's not how you usually find out.
No.
Yeah. And I was really, how did you get my credit card? But when I first got here, I was unaware that they were losing their house. And it was the first time I had seen them in a few years. So we were just hanging out, and I needed some credit cards to live to my first paycheck. So I mailed those to them while I was moving, and they brought them, but they wrote the credit card numbers down. And they were buying everything for me, like taking me out to dinner and stuff while we were here hanging out with my credit cards. So I found out months later in the middle of a work day that my credit card was maxed out, and I called and I was like, what is this? And I saw the bill. It was Kyle will know because he's in Atlanta, but it's Marietta Power Company.
Yes.
They were in Georgia. So I was like, what? I don't even live there. And so it was just kind of like a downhill spiral, I guess. But I was mad, but instead of being mad, I was more concerned that my family was in the process of becoming homeless. So I gave them my entire savings, gave them my apartment, and then went and got another apartment, and they moved here. And then after that, there was a lot of lies involved, got involved with drugs. And then I was totally unaware. I guess I'm just super naive. I mean,
Yeah. So like, I wanted to ask this because I also did a little bit of research, and it seemed like, how old were you when this specific incident occurred? When your credit card was maxed out, and you were like, "Oh wait, my family's losing their home." How old were you then?
About 25.
So prior to you being 25, had there been like little red flags along the way, like when you were a child, when you were an adolescent, when you were a teenager?
No, not so much. I think growing up it was fairly normal. I knew that they did some dumb spending things, like they would buy things that I'm like, how can you afford that? But there wasn't any. But there was never any like that's just stealing from your kids. There was never.
It's worse than stealing. Like it's identity theft, right? Like
ruins your credit, all that stuff.
It ruins your credit. Like money can be replaced really easily. Credit is so hard to rebuild. You know, it's you can't just go to Chase and be like, no, you don't understand. You see, my mom stole my identity. I pay my bills. It's her. They're like, well, how do we know that she's not going to steal your identity again? Like they don't believe you. They're not going to believe that shit. So
I think the decision is whether or not you want your parents to take the fall for it, right? Like in my mind, so I watched this too. The choice was I can either, accept a screwed up credit record and pay off these bills, or two, my parents go to jail. Because my credit gets stolen all the time. Not so much in the last year, but it used to happen like literally twice a month. And they'd be like, hey, we've got these weird charges at like Cumberland Farms. They're not even around here, jewelry stores, whatever. And I'd just be like, nope, that's a you problem. That's fraud. That has nothing to do with me. And they're like, all right, we get it. And it was easy as that. They just accepted my word. They were usually new cards that were open and charges. So you could have done that, but they absolutely would have gone straight to your parents to go criminal. Yeah.
I mean, what do you do when you're in that situation? You want to help them out, right? Because now I'm in a situation where I can, whereas, they raised me, I went off to college, got a job. And so I figured, it feels like even though I'm upset, my credit is totally destroyed. I want to help you not be under a bridge.
You mentioned the power company charge, and like I'm in my own head, I'm processing like, well, how bad was the stealing? As if stealing's not all equal.
Yeah,
but like the electric bill is like one kind of stealing. If they also put like home electronics and stuff on it, that's a different kind of spending on.
And if it's a situation where they're like 50 DVD players and they're going and reselling them so that they can make cash out of your credit, I don't
know what's the worst to me, because to my mind, frivolous spending is one of the meanest things they could have done.
Well, what I just suggested is like outright theft, right? Where they're taking pennies on the dollar on your credit to put cash in their pocket, like.
So what was
I think we're going to get to the root of this later, but and maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but there's going to be this thing we're coming to, and it's like, at what point do you say family or not? I don't want to jump the gun yet, but like that's what's in my head right now. It's like family or not.
So what was on the cards? Let's.
It was mostly just utility bills.
Okay.
I had no idea that it was even being used. Like I never got any like fraud. This card is being used across the United States from you. I never got any alerts or anything like that because I guess they had started using it before I even got it. So that was like the first time it was used. And so that location didn't trigger any red flags for them.
Right. Yeah, they don't know normal spending patterns because the new cards.
Mm-hmm. And this was about the same time you had given them a car, right? Or was that a bit afterward?
I brought them here and they had a car, but they pawned it. They pawned both of their cars, actually. And so then they were just walking to work or riding a bike to work. And I was like, this is not right. Like, you guys shouldn't be pawning your vehicles, but also like you can't walk in minus 20-degree weather 2 miles like that. I mean, you can, but I'm not going to let you do that. So I got them a car. Yeah, and then they got that, like one of my sister's friends stole it and got into a hit and run, and the police raided my house. It was just a giant mess. Like,
man, you've had so much drama in your life. Like, are you on medication now to be this chill?
No, not really. It just, I don't know. Like, I can be really upset. Like, some days I think about it, but most of the time, I don't know. It was really hard the first year, but now,
family must be really important to you.
Like YouTube deleted my channel, I think like the end of 2018, and like I just kind of drank my problems away at that point because I didn't want to like take that next step. So I went to rehab twice. I ended up getting my YouTube channel back like probably 5 months ago. So that was like a 2-year process of like arguing with YouTube, and that's basically like yelling at a brick wall because YouTube is just an entity that they don't care. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of like took some time to fucking work on myself. And like I started my YouTube at 18, so I was just kind of like young, dumb, and fucking wild. And I kind of had to like learn over the last few years how to like be an adult and like just take care of responsibilities. So it's been a couple of interesting years, but like I'm in a good place mentally finally. I'm in a good place like financially again and everything. So that feels good to be back on YouTube.
That sucks. 2 full years of no channel. And of course you're anxious as shit. You know, that's your livelihood and it's up in the air. You have no control over it. You know, that's why it is so scary, like working on Twitch or being a YouTuber, knowing that like just these arbitrarily enforced rules can come down on you anytime. And even if you are 100% in the right, look at what happened to Destiny on Twitch with like that person trying to fuck him over by showing a picture. Like it took him days and he has like 600,000 followers. Like, and then you see something like that and you're like, oh no, if I'm fucked. No, they're not coming to say hi to me. They're not going to, you know, they got 50 bigger people before they get to me to deal with. But anyway, the rehab thing is, was it the kind that you like, you live there in like a dorm for 30 days?
Yep. So I was in a fucking dorm room with 3 other dudes for 30 days. And like,
that must be
is everybody cranky because they're getting sober?
So angry. And I was like the only young person there for alcohol. So like most alcoholics are like, you know, 30s, 40s, and they're like, oh shit, my life's like going down the drain. Like everyone my age was on heroin or like, you know, other drugs like Xanax. So their withdrawal,
maybe
a little bit, yeah. I was like, fuck, like I wasn't even doing that much.
Old dude's drug.
But like their withdrawals are like 2-3 weeks. So like alcohol, your withdrawal is 5-7 days maybe. So they're withdrawing for the entire time, and by day 7, I'm like, all right, like let's go to class, smoke some cigarettes.
Wow, I did not know that. Pills keep you fucked up for weeks after you stop them.
Very, very long times, and they get sicker than I did. So like,
yeah, of course. Was there anyone in there that like was trying to like sneak in their drug of choice?
Many people got kicked out for that.
Yeah,
because like this was like it was in the middle of a city. So it's not like, you know, some retreat in the woods or anything like that. So like people can just drive up to a window and pass something through a window, and all of a sudden it spreads like wildfire, and there's like 7 people that just got something off of one person. So yeah, that was like a constant struggle for them, was like keeping stuff out of there. And like, you're not there against your will. You can walk at any time. So a lot of the people that were going through those like 3-week withdrawals would walk on like week 2. So like they're halfway through it, they're almost done, and they're like, fuck it, I can't do it. Just because they have one bad day. So
and then they have to, then they got to start.
And then it's a repeated cycle.
There's no save point. Then they have to start the whole 3-week withdrawal. That sucks.
And you pay fucking 20 grand no matter what. Like you have to pay the.
I'm starting a rehab tomorrow.
How did you get 20 grand? Did you pay it, or like did you have a family
insurance?
Member pay it? Insurance paid it. Okay.
Insurance.
Oh, that's even better. We want you to fail.
A repeat business. Yeah.
That's my problem with like rehab centers and IOPs. Like, it's really important to detox people, but their goal is not to keep you sober forever. They want you to come back because it's a repeat customer over and over and over and over. So there's people in there that are like, it's their 9th rehab, and it's like, something's not working here. Like, this clearly isn't the path for you. It's working for the center.
The first time you went, I'm assuming 30 days, because that sounds right. Is that not 30 days?
Yep, 28.
So like 28 days. So like 4 weeks. How long after that did you stick to it before you went back to, I guess, drinking or smoking pot?
Okay, so first rehab, I like the week out started dating a girl from the rehab center. Terrible idea.
Oh, that's
terrible idea.
We'll
keep each other straight.
And
hey, we're gonna be accountability.
Yeah,
we're just two friends who love heroin.
We had different drugs of choice, so I thought it would work.
But the same dealer. It was like
exactly. So like, I lasted about 6 months. We broke up. I lasted like 2 months after we broke up, and then that's when I relapsed. And I relapsed for like 11 days. And when at day 11, I was like, all right, I'm going back. Fuck. So I checked myself in.
Can I stop you and ask you a question there? When you relapsed, what was the first thing you drank?
Oh, it's Bud Light Seltzer.
Okay. So
those are pretty good.
See, that's what I wanted to know. I want to know if you were like, maybe I'll just have a little thing and see if I can handle it again. Is that what happened? You were like,
so
can I drink like a normal person? Can I just have a Bud Light Seltzer? I mean, I used to pound bottles of vodka. I can have a Bud Light Seltzer, right?
This is basically nothing. I need 5.
Exactly. So
it becomes like that. Yeah.
I was about a half gallon a day vodka drinker when I went in the first time. And then so I was like, yeah, fuck it. Actually, I saw an ad on Twitch for Bud Light Seltzer, and I was like, I've never tried those. Like, I loved White Claws. So on vacation, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go have a couple Bud Light Seltzers. And then that turned into a case. Is that black cherry?
My favorite.
He's got eagle eyes.
Why would you show that to him?
Because
that's all part of it. Now we're past that now.
You should be like, oh man, that hits the spot.
I'm at a point now where I can go to a bar and comfortably not drink. Like, I can have a lime and water.
Me too.
Like seltzer water.
That's great.
But so
Woody's got his alcoholism completely under control.
He's like, I'm settled.
Got both hands around that alcoholism problem.
Woody absolutely dominated alcoholism. They never even got a foothold. Ooh, gross. No, thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. So,
I have one more question before you continue. I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I think it's fun to like pull.
No, I love the questions about this.
What you said, you were half a gallon of a day of vodka drinker. That makes a lot of sense to me. That's, if I were going to be an alcoholic, that's what I would do. Whenever I have drank a lot, that's what I did. Not half a gallon a day. That's a lot. But a lot still. Fifth a day. I've been there before.
Right.
Like Tito's.
Yep. That was my drinking choice.
A fifth a day is, if we're talking about normal fifth size bottles. Or I'm sorry, the half gallon.
Of a gallon.
Half gallon comes with a handle.
Yeah, and
it comes with a handle.
The equivalent of like 2 bottles of regular vodka and another half bottle, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
how do you see? Were you drinking like sun up to sundown?
Yeah. So I would wake up at about 2 a.m. withdrawing with shakes, sweats, like terrible place. I would have to have about 3 or 4 shots before I stopped shaking and could go back to bed and get maybe like I don't know, 3-4 hours of sleep. And then I'll wake up and same thing all day. Like every 20 minutes, I'd have a shot, maybe a double. So like it was real bad. And I would leave like a little teeny bit of the half gallon for the morning so I could like wake up, get some alcohol in me, and go buy more.
Yeah.
So what were
that
you
was
like drunk? Like if I'm drunk, it's pretty obvious. Are you got it together? Do other people know you're drunk?
Oh yeah. I was living with a long-term girlfriend at that time, and it was most of the time apparent. Like, so I was functional drunk, but I would like cross a line, and then she would come home to me laying on the kitchen floor.
We just black out.
Yeah, I just black out entirely. Sometimes on stream, actually. Fell asleep several times on Twitch. Surprised I'm not banned and still partnered. But my audience was actually like at an all-time high. I think it was like Wing Syndrome, where everyone's like, let's watch this crash and burn. But yeah, relapsed on Bud Light Seltzer. Within 11 days, back to rehab. 28 more days there.
How quickly did it accelerate after the seltzer? Was it like you had one seltzer on day one and you were like, I can't believe it, I stopped, I've got a handle, and then the next day it was like,
no. He didn't have one seltzer on day
one. I had a case on day one.
Okay.
Day two, I had probably about 2 cases. Day 3, I was like, why the fuck am I buying so many cans? So I bought a pint.
What am I going to start recycling or something?
Yeah, like, what the fuck is this shit?
48 cans. I look like an alcoholic. Give me a
Tito's. I'm reducing waste.
Now, when you're drinking a handle a day, you're ending up with a lot of glass. Do you turn those in for the cash? No, just toss them.
Yeah, my landlord was probably like, holy shit, someone's going really hard though, because there's like fucking 6 half gals stacked up.
That's something I've seen with extreme alcoholics before, who would drink, multiple bottles a day. Is like they would save that glass, and like that they're gonna need that to buy more alcohol at the end of the month.
I was gonna say, I think I was kind of financially in a place where I didn't have to because of YouTube. And like that's what my drug counselor always tells me. It's like, you were a pyro in a firework factory. Like you had all the resources to do nothing all day, and the resources to buy whatever you wanted. So, like, you put those together, and it's a disaster. So that's why that situation, like all the resources to do whatever you want, and all the time in the world to do whatever you want. That's like a superpower. You can use it for good or evil. Yep.
You can really take a left turn and just mess things up, or you can take a right turn and like make crazy cool things happen when you've got like plenty of money and all the time in the world.
Yep.
Yeah. Usually seems to be one of those extremes, though.
It's going to be one of those extremes. We're human beings.
Either you're like, you just become like Elon Musk, or you're just like, I love booze. I love crack cocaine is my jam. I'm all about crack.
God, I want to
party all year.
Don't you want to try some crack cocaine just once?
I'd love to lose a little weight. I love it.
If I was dying, maybe.
I think I'll steer clear.
I don't know.
The teeth are.
Every time I read about one of these drugs, I find them to be disappointing. And that's almost part of their danger. And again, I haven't tried them. I just read about it. But they're like, I took this drug, cocaine, and all it did is make me feel like I was on Adderall. It was like a bit of an upper. I was in a good mood. I was talkative. Maybe, it's a good version of me. I took heroin. And, it just made me enjoy my afternoon, even though it was yucky out. It made me just pleased.
They're underplaying heroin, I think.
Could be.
I remember when John Travolta was about to make Pulp Fiction, he was trying to figure out his walk, like how he was going to walk, because he's on heroin. He's like, what am I feeling inside? He wants to really embody a character who has a heroin issue, who's always high on heroin, and he's talking to someone who's on heroin. He's like, what does it feel like? Well, like how do you walk? And the guy said, do this. Take about I don't remember how many shots of tequila he told him, but 4 to 6 shots tequila or something, and then get in a really hot tub. After 10 minutes, that's how heroin feels. And he's
that sounds awful.
Yeah. I did go to prison for a little bit longer than Kyle, although we were both at Talladega, just separated by a few razor wires.
Yeah.
Long story short, let me see how I've explained this in the past. I've given the rundown a few times. In 2012, I was playing an online video game known as RuneScape. It was one of my favorite games from age 2004 until I just logged off of it an hour ago. And I was very, very drunk playing with a friend of mine named Anthony that was trying to download me to convince me to download a game making light of a school shooting that happened in 1999.
How old are you?
I was 19 years old at the time, I meant to say. So I was about to say that I was drunk. It wasn't legal already in and of itself because I was 19.
So you began the night by committing a crime.
Oh, I was already doing it big. I was
victimless crime.
Yeah, the victimless crime, not to the FBI. I did not think that the video game was very funny. I did Google it. I looked it up. I did not download it. The FBI said I downloaded it. We later had to actually make a point in court to get them to take it off the record that I downloaded it because I did not, even though the judge shrugged and said he didn't know what download meant anyway. He said, you can win on that point. I don't know what download means.
That's a horrible thing to run into in the middle of an internet crime. I don't understand the downloads.
It means I had no possession of this game. It means I looked through the window of a store at it and walked away.
Exactly.
Well
That's
phrased.
the digital equivalent. That's very, very well phrased. I wish I would have thought to say that instead of saying,
I'm going to jail.
Yeah, if I would have been, in a little bit of a better mindset, maybe I could have explained it better. But anyways, me being drunk and in those days, admittedly being a little bit more hairy on the neck, if you will, I decided that a third party busted in and told me I was a dumbass for discussing this particular massacre at all, for even mentioning the name of it, and encouraged me to call him on the phone and end my life with him on the phone. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's a crime, but I don't think this guy got in trouble because my drunk ass decided, I said, I love that particular school shooting. Man, I'm obsessed with it. I'm going to do it myself. Ha, 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 ha. Motherfucker, I'm just kidding. Or I said I'm being sarcastic, and I had the long transcript. I just recently moved to New Orleans, and my paperwork's all put up. But I have the long transcript where I actually said it's called sarcasm. Nonetheless, 4 days later, I also said some things that school can be gravel if I have anything to say about it. That word gravel becoming very important when it went before the grand jury because that constitutes – exactly. It constitutes a bomb threat, which gave me a new charge separate from the other one. 4 days later – the bomb squad, the FBI, the SWAT team, and the boys all showed up at my house, the helicopter in the sky, the bomb-sniffing dogs that I didn't know existed on October 8th of 2012, that was, and came and got me out of my mom's house with a whole lot of empty bottles of alcohol because I was not doing too great in life. And due to the fact that I was a bit of a slacker who preferred a bit of the drink and the smoke to working a good job, a big, big example was made out of me, and I ended up ultimately being sentenced to 6 years in federal prison, most of which I served at medium-high securities, excluding a violation of probation that sent me back.
That is wild. And I'm assuming like the long or the length of your sentence, you say that was tied to gravel, like the bomb aspect of it?
Right. It was poignant that I received 6 years because 5 years was the maximum statutory sentence for one of the two charges. The charges that I was faced with were transmitting threats in interstate and foreign commerce, transmitting threats to kill and injure the person of another, which has a statutory maximum of 5 years. Now, the day before jury deliberation, when I had my lawyer came to me and said, you're either going to plead out today or you're going to take to this court and get 15 years. It's your last chance. You better plead out. I pled out to the more serious charge of transmitting threats to destroy buildings by means of fire and explosives, which I could not have even gotten 6 years for if that was the one that I would have pled out to.
As it was occurring and everything's unfolding, was there a certain point were you like afraid of going to prison the whole time, or in the beginning were you like, this is bullshit, it's obviously a joke? Was there a moment where you're like, oh no, this is real?
Yeah, the moment where I started realizing that I might be in over my head, even though I'd already been to court multiple times at this point, was 2 months later, a little over 2 months later, when the Newtown Sandy Hook massacre happened, and that was all over TV. And that was when I was like, that is very sad to begin with, but also unfortunate timing for me.
And so you fired up RuneScape, and you got ready for a little trolling.
Yeah, I was already in jail when the Sandy Hook happened. I was sitting in a jail cell with a bunch of other dudes just watching on TV as this unfolded, like, oh, they are really going to want a scapegoat for this. And a lot of people have referred to me as the RuneScape goat, of course, for taking the hit while playing RuneScape. But
how does jail compare to prison?
In my personal opinion, if you got time to do, prison is the way to go. 1,000,000%. So much better. So much more to do. You can actually go outside and walk around and see the sunlight, check out a guitar with your ID or whatever. So much better to do time in prison. Like if you have a year to do, trust me, I'd rather be in prison than jail. Jail's like a deck of cards and a TV and a bunch of angry men that don't know their fate yet. At least men in prison have somewhat become resigned.
Y'all had cards? They had gone on a hunger strike the month before to get Kool-Aid.